why does self-care matter? Because when you take care of yourself, you turn the lights on for everything that you want in your life. And it doesn't mean you have to feel fucking amazeballs every day. It doesn't mean that you can't suffer with depression or PTSD or low energy or a weird mood one of the days or 6 months out of the year. You still, if you do this work to keep taking steps in taking care of yourself, that alone, that choice is so magnetic and powerful that you will unlock so many doors that were closed before you said yes to that.
Hey, I'm Brooke Jean, therapist, recovering perfectionist, and struggling working mom on a mission to normalize normal. If you're an overwhelmed, high-achieving, and secretly anxious mama, struggling to balance it all and on the brink of burnout, you are in the right place. Here is where we talk about hard things like balancing work and family life, mental health, and how to navigate life-altering transitions. Nothing is too taboo here. In my conversations, I'll teach you how to let go of who you think you're supposed to be in order to create the life you've always wanted. Get ready to embrace your messy, shed the shoulds, and find freedom through a life unperfected. This is the Unperfected Pod.
Welcome back, Mama. I am so glad you're here. Before we get into this week's episode, I wanted to jump on and let you know about a new way to work with me that is going to be more potent, more powerful, and more life-changing than ever. I want to introduce you to Unbounded, a mastermind for Mama. If you are a high-achieving, high-performing, often anxious, busy working mama like me, ready to ditch perfectionism so that you can level up in life, leadership, and your business with more confidence, clarity, and ease, then this, my love, is the program for you. I'm going to be bringing together high-level women who are doing things in leadership, who are doing things in business, but want to take it next level in a way that's more fun, more playful, invites more joy, and more ease in the body. This is going to be a 6-month container that ends and wraps up with a live in-person retreat. I cannot wait to share more with you because I am pouring my heart and soul into this program, into this special space where women are going to come together. They're going to cast their visions. They're going to set high goals. They're going to hold that vision for each other. They're going to support one another. You are going to uproot anything that has been holding you back from rising into your fullest expression, potential, and power. You are going to learn how to create a belief system that is supportive and helping you get where you want to go. You're going to learn about energy and frequency and how to leverage that to hit next level. You're going to remove the self-sabotaging blocks and barriers that are holding you back from feeling your best and doing your best. You're going to get a toolkit of over 100 tools to regulate your nervous system, manage your mind, prime your vagus nerve, and get that vessel, honey, so she can expand into this next iteration of your life and leadership and business. And so if you want to be one of the fabulous women who joins me on this journey, the link is in the show notes. Make sure that you set up a free discovery call with me as soon as possible. We are going to be launching this container March 5th, 2024. I hope to see you inside the program. I cannot wait to see what's on the other side for you when you live unbounded. Welcome back to the Unperfected Pod, where we normalize normal and find freedom in a life unperfected. What is up, Mama? Brooke Jean here, your host of this podcast. I am so freaking grateful that you are here. Before we jump into today's topic, which is actually, if I really think about it, related to the update and the life story that I want to share, I want to give you all a follow-up to what's been going on in my health journey. So if you've been following along, whether it's on the podcast or following me on Instagram at Brooke Jean Unperfected, you may or may not know that December 4th of last year, I walked my fanny into the emergency room because I had hit a level of pain in my upper abdomen, which was shooting through the middle of my back to my spine that I could no longer tolerate. I had been experiencing some of these like episodes of pain, and they reminded me a lot of when I had gallstones in my gallbladder before I got my gallbladder removed. And so I would get these like pains that would last for hours, but then they would go away. And I got it really bad on Thanksgiving, that to a point where I like got emotional about it in front of my family. And so, anyways, something was like brewing inside of my body. And on December 4th, I went to get my hair done and I sat down in a chair and the pain became unbearable. And I just knew intuitively, like, something is so terribly wrong. And my friend who does my hair was like, "You are just not yourself." And of course, I was like trying to pretend like everything's okay because hashtag conditioning, hashtag mom problems, hashtag people pleasing, hashtag recovery for perfectionism, and all those things. Anyway, she's listen. Go to the emergency room because that's your one stop shop to get everything looked at. Do not fuck around and find out with this anymore. And she was such an angel on earth that day because I feel like if I wouldn't have had that nudge from her, that permission from another woman of, no, dude, get into the ER, I don't know that I would have gone. Maybe because I did get in my car. And as I was driving home, I just felt this pull that was undeniable. Like, you are going to the emergency room. So, anyways, I checked into the emergency room. I don't think I've ever checked myself into an emergency room. I was like done up to the nines, by the way, which is not normal for me. Usually I'm in full on beast mode in my personal life, but I like had this fancy outfit on and these really high, like, wedge boots, and my hair was done and my makeup, and I waltzed into the ER. Like, I mean, seriously, who is this bee? Anyways, they gave me every test under the sun, guys. They did the urine test and all the blood tests, and they tested all my levels. It was like numbing different parts of my body, but it was not even touching this like crazy nagging pain that was at the top of my stomach, like my sternum area and my back. And I really didn't know if it was my abdomen or my vertebra, something in my back, because it was just all big, like one big fire. And so they gave me all the meds, right? They gave me the oxycodone. They gave me the, I don't know, what's that stuff that they give you literally when you're like leaving Earth and going to heaven? I can't think of it right now because mom brain, but nothing was working. And so they basically sent me home and said, "You got to go to the GI doctor because it's clearly on the inner lining of your stomach. We also sense it might be your pancreas because some of your levels are high or something with your pancreas. But we suspect there's ulcers, something going on with your pancreas, maybe some gastritis, something like that." So I went to the GI doctor a couple days later and they scheduled me for an endoscopy and a colonoscopy. The doctor was like, "Yep, you've got some interesting things going on with your pancreas levels, and you may actually have some bacteria in your gut that's really bad and has been wreaking havoc. And it's just been like a perfect storm of all these things that has led to this pain, and we'll get it checked out." Meanwhile, guys, for 5 days straight, I was in 10 out of 10 excruciating pain. I couldn't even take care of my child. Also, Chloe was just getting off of having the flu and she threw up like the worst she's ever thrown up. And so she was really anxious about throwing up, about going to school. And so we were like not even telling her what mama was really going through, because the last thing my precious little girl needed, who was afraid to go to school and anxious about throwing up, was that my stomach and insides were dying on me, basically. So I was like in bed and I was just going through these like waves of such intense pain that I was just like on my knees crying to God, begging for it to go away, asking for a second chance at life, taking a bath, like having my heat pad. Nothing would help. I just had to get through it. And then they would subside and then they would come back. And I went through this cycle of excruciating pain and the subsiding for 5 days straight. It was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I, by Thursday, guys, was starting to lose my damn mind. Like, I didn't know what else I could do. I didn't know how much more I could take. Meanwhile, I wasn't eating anything. I wasn't keeping anything down. Like, I was getting dehydrated, totally dehydrated. My pee was like neon yellowish orange, which totally freaked me out. I was just really sick. And it even got to a point where one of my girlfriends came to pick up my daughter to take her to dance, and she got emotional because she wasn't ready to see how sick I was. My eyes were really yellow. I was green. Like, I feel like I was going down really fast, you guys, and it was scary. And so finally, Sunday morning, I woke up and the pain was different. The pain was different. And so I was like, hallelujah. Maybe I can start to put some rice noodles with chicken stock in my body. And that's where I started. I just started with the most gentle foods you can possibly imagine, and water and like electrolytes. And I just started slowly adding a few things in. And then I got my endoscopy, my colonoscopy. And here's the annoying part, my friends. I have had every test you can imagine under the sun, and everything at this point has come back clear and normal. Clear and normal. Now, I had cut out coffee, but I'm slowly bringing that in. I've completely cut out alcohol, and I'm planning on keeping that cut out for at least a year, to because I'm so fucking scared of feeling any sort of pain again. Whatever. I'm eating at home instead of eating out. I've cut out a lot of fat and a lot of spicy foods and acidic foods and all these things. But all of that to just find out, like, or to hear from these Western docs that, like, there's no problems. Excuse me. It's not possible that there's no problems. You're just not doing a deep enough dive into what's really going on in my gut, in my biochemistry, that's creating havoc on my system, because you're telling me that everything's healthy, and yet I literally just was scared I was dying for 5 days. So, long story long, I have totally cleaned up what I'm putting into my body, which has led me to this idea of real and deep self care that I want to talk about today. Because what that has opened up for me is pretty fucking cool. And I think the next step for me is eventually to get into some functional medicine, some functional nutrition, and get those, because they look at your hormones and your gut health on such a deeper level than Western docs do, period. End of story. To find out like what is actually going on and what changes can I make. But I'm going to be honest with you all, I'm not fucking ready for that. Okay. I've already had to cut out my favorite vices, which is my nightly wine and brie cheese and Amazon Prime. I cannot at the same time make 1,000 changes to everything else. You guys know me. I like to take baby steps. I like to take them consistently until they're habitual and they're easier. And it's almost 2 months in of no drinking, and I am being so mindful of what I'm putting into my body, and I'm not eating late night snacks, and I'm not eating brie cheese, and I'm not eating fried food and all these things. Let me live, okay? Let me live. But I will eventually take a deeper look when I'm ready, and I don't think it's going to overwhelm my system. Now, there's a spiritual component for me here that I believe is happening. You all know that I have a very big vision and a mission to help women and moms, particularly, remove barriers holding them back from stepping into their fullest power, potency, and potential. I have a huge mission to help mommies with their mental health. I want to have a ripple effect where, as one mama heals, another mama heals, their families heal, their teams heal, their classroom heals. There's a ripple effect here. I believe that when we heal mother, we heal the world. When we heal mother, we heal the planet. That is my mission. And I believe that in order to step into this next iteration of myself, my life, my leadership, and my business, I had to shed some shit that was no longer serving me, AKA the wine, the brie cheese, the Amazon Prime, because those coping mechanisms were self-sabotaging me. Those coping mechanisms were keeping me playing small. They were giving me shame. They were making me feel not as good in my mental health, which was creating doubt in my abilities. And for me, when I was in that level of pain, which I had zero control over, and I'm literally praying to God, crying, I was like, just let me live through this. And I promise I am going to be so much more mindful about taking care of my vessel, mind, body, and spirit. I'm going to be so much more careful of what I'm consuming and putting into my body, mind, body, and spirit. And I promise you, if I make it through this shit, I know it sounds dramatic, you guys, but I swear if you could have seen me, this is legit what was going on. I'm begging God, if I can survive this and live through this, that I'm going to clean up my act and get my shit together and take care of myself in a way that I never have before. You see, because as a therapist, as a coach, as a mom, I thought I was taking pretty darn good care of myself. I do the healing work. I do the meditations. I do the movement. I am mindful about a lot of things. But I think I I hadn't even known that there was a whole nother layer, or maybe I was just afraid to step into this whole next layer of self-care that was going to unlock and unleash a next level of success for me. And so that's what I want to talk about today is how can we reframe self-care in our minds from something like self-care is selfish to self-care is the vehicle to my success. Because what I'm personally experiencing is that as I've taken my health journey to the next level and really engaged in self-care, in terms of how I'm taking care of myself, not just taking baths. I do that, but we're going to talk about the hierarchy of needs and therefore how that parallels the hierarchy of self-care. But as I have embarked on this journey of taking better and better care of myself since December 4th, I cannot believe the blessings on blessings that are coming into my life. I've cast a vision for myself this year to feel more alive. Every freaking day, I feel more alive. I feel closer to my children. I feel closer to my partner. I have business opportunities. I've doubled my income in the month of January, and January is normally the slowest month of the year. Every day, people are reaching out, whether it's on Instagram or email or text, wanting to collaborate with me. I'm telling you, when I made the decision to start taking better care of myself because I had to, not because I chose to, but the universe will always get you on the path you're supposed to be on. Because I said yes, and because I'm choosing to take care of myself in this way, I am absolutely unlocking a next level of success. And I want to teach you how to do the same. Okay. So, when we think about self care, I want you to take a moment just in the here and now. When you think about self care, what are some of the things that you think about? Maybe you think about massage and facials and getting your nails done, or maybe you think about going on a retreat and things like that. And those are all, by the way, beautiful examples of self care. I am never going to sit here and knock any version of self care because, honey, you deserve it all. But what I do want to introduce to you today is this idea of there's hierarchy of needs when it comes to self care. And when we only do the nails, we're really missing some of the foundational keys that are going to help us be healthy mind, body, and spirit. And so maybe you're familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, maybe you're not, but it basically looks like a triangle where the bottom rung, and if you're watching, you can watch all these episodes on YouTube, just so you guys know. Link is in the show notes. But that bottom layer of the triangle is going to be like the foundational core need. This is the thing that we need for the rest of the things to stick and to matter, which is basically around safety and security. So, as a high achieving, high performing, often anxious, perfectionist leaning, busy working mom, the first thing when you're looking at self care as a key to success, you got to look at, are your basic needs being met, starting with your survival? Are you in a safe environment? Are you safe and secure? Do you have shelter? Do you have enough food and hydration? Are you around other humans? Because did you know that if we completely isolate and we're not around other humans, we will die? So that when you're thinking about, okay, Brooke, I want to play with this concept that self-care can be the vehicle to success. You got to look at step number one, which is, are your basic needs met. If they're not, we've got to start there. We've got to work there. Because if your basic needs are not met, but you're getting your nails done, that experience of getting your nails done isn't going to give you the depth of what you really need to feel your best so you can be your best. Okay. I also want to talk about just the power of deciding, the power of choice. I think this might even come before we talk about the hierarchy of needs is like we have to make the decision that we're going to start taking better care of ourselves. Whether it's a decision that was forced upon us or a decision that you're choosing to make, everything begins with like the choice. I'm deciding today that I'm going to start taking better care of myself. And we need to be really rooted and grounded and confident in that. From there, we got to look at the hierarchy of needs, right? And so look at, are you safe? Are you secure? You would be shocked at how many mothers hold their pee, how many mothers forget to eat, how many mothers pack their kids everything they could need, the water bottle, the sunscreen, the hat, the lunchie, the snackies, the this and that and the other, and then they forget their own damn water bottle. Raise your hand if you're resonating with this, right? You would be shocked to know how many mothers stay in uncomfortable situations because they don't want to burden anybody else. So it might sound silly when I'm saying, y'all, you need to make sure your basic human needs are met, but this is real. Stop forgetting to pee. Stop forgetting to eat. You've got to treat your body like the vessel that it is, and you matter just as much as anyone else on this planet. So once our basic needs are met, then we got to start looking at like our psychological, mental, and emotional needs. So the first layer is like your physical needs. Do you have shelter? Do you have food? Do you have safety? The second layer is your psychological needs, your mental and emotional well being. Okay. And so, are you in systems and homes and relationships where you can be who you are, where you can feel how you feel? Is there space for you? Those kinds of things. Okay. And then I want to take that to a deeper level and talk about beliefs here. Because one of the things that really prevents women from taking the action that they set for themselves around self care is this belief that it's not important, the belief that self care is selfish, the belief that everything else is more important. And so our beliefs either help us get the result we want or they hinder us from getting the result they want. So I want you to take a minute and just start to do some exploration around what are my beliefs around self care? Do you believe that you are worthy and deserving of taking better care of yourself? Do you believe that it is okay to take up time and space and the investment? So maybe you think that you deserve self care, but you feel bad spending the money. Friends, we've got to put the horse before the cart. The horse is not going to get the cart across state lines if she's starving to death and she's not taken care of and she's not loved on and she's not groomed well and she doesn't have hydration and she doesn't have rest. She ain't going to get you there. Your needs matter. For every relationship you have, for everything that you do and want in your life, you've got to come first. So you've got to look at your beliefs and are they holding you back from making this happen? I cannot tell you how many moms tell me, I don't have time for that, or I don't have the budget for that. And listen, it's all time, budget, all of it is relative. It's not that you don't have the time or the budget. It's that you haven't prioritized this as the most important thing in your life. I'm sure if I were to look at your expenses and see what you're spending your money on, I could find the money for these things, but you've placed value on everyone else's needs or other things at a higher level. You've prioritized these other things over your self-care. And so what beliefs do we need to uproot, reprogram, and upgrade that gives you full permission to take up the time and space and the financial investment to take better care of yourself? Nothing is more important on your calendar than you being healthy, my love. Period. Let me say that again because I understand that this is a hard one. It's easier said than done. I fully get that. I'm with you on that. Do you know how many decades I put myself last, which then led me to burnout? And hello, the eating, drinking, and spending habits I have? But you and your health are the most important things on your calendar. You should be plotting your meditation, your workouts, your nutrition, your connection, the things that make you feel happy, healthy, and whole and alive, your therapy, your coaching, your mentorship, your reading, your breath work, your whatever the hell it is, your dance class, your happy hour with girlfriends. Those things need to be plotted on your calendar first. I'm not even kidding you, and the rest can come after. I want you to be looking at what are your beliefs around self care and are they holding you back from actually taking the action to embody this next level of care. Okay. So we have your basic human needs, which is making sure that you have shelter, that you have water, that you have food, that you have security and safety. Then we have your psychological needs, which looks like your mental and emotional well being. And in that, there's a ton that goes in that, right? Your healing, your therapy, your Reiki, like whatever you need to get your mind and emotional health healthy. But I'm particularly pulling out the beliefs that you have in your mind around what's possible for you and what's okay for you, because I see so many women who have the best of intentions. Yes, Brooke, I'm bought in. I do want to take better care of myself. I do see how important that is. And then they sabotage it and they put something on their calendar and they let someone else take over that spot where they were going to fill in the blank with whatever the self-care activity was. Which leads me to the next thing, which is boundaries. Boundaries are a self-care practice. And I don't just mean boundaries in terms of like putting up a wall between you and someone else, putting up a wall between you and someone who triggers you. That's not what I mean when I talk about boundaries. When I talk about boundaries, what I mean is protecting your intention. Like when you decide I'm going to be healthy this year and I'm going to take these steps to be healthy this year, you protect that shit fiercely. You do not let people overschedule you. You do not let people take up that space. You do not let feelings of guilt prevent you from going to yoga. You do not let your husband's tone that you misinterpreted that he's annoyed with you mean that you cancel your therapy appointment or you stop spending money on your growth and development or whatever the hell it is that you need. Boundaries say, I said that I'm going to be healthy this year. And so therefore, I'm going to protect whatever I need to protect to make it happen. Boundaries mean I've set the frequency standard of I'm going to feel alive this year. And that means I'm going to be aware of, mindful of, and intentional around that vision. That's having a boundary. And when I get kicked out, when I fall out of alignment, I'm going to notice that with grace and get back in. I'm going to protect my vision. I'm going to protect my energy and I'm going to live intentionally. Living with your integrity, my love, is self freaking care, right? So getting your nails done and getting the massage isn't enough if you're self-sabotaging the shit out of yourself every night with spending or social media or gambling or alcohol or binge eating or whatever your thing is. There's not enough pedicures that are going to erase the self-destruction and the shame that comes from that to make you truly be in your integrity, to make you feel good. Because when we engage in those habits, we're just chipping away at our self-trust and our self-worth. And then we try to slap a retreat over that or a massage over that. And that feels good in the moment, but it's not going to get down to the core and the damage. And just in the 2 months, which eating, drinking, and spending, your trifecta could be 3 completely different things. Yours could be people pleasing, overscheduling, and perfecting. When we're engaging in those things, what we're telling ourselves on a very deep level, subconscious and energetic levels, that we can't handle it. How the fuck are you supposed to show up for that next level of your life if your subconscious believes that you can't handle it? So self-care is about removing these habits that are doing that to our psyche. And by the way, guys, this is hard. I cannot tell you the grief and the discomfort that I feel giving up my evening rewards. It's not easy. I feel like some days I'm out here naked and afraid, a live wire, just out here. But because I make it through day by day out here in that way, I'm just strengthening my belief in myself. I'm strengthening my connection to myself and the people that I love and my connection to my intuition and spirit. And I'm like, whoa, this is a completely different mode of operation. And because I'm in that energy, all these opportunities are flooding in. I have this moment with my partner where he had that look in his eye again. These are the things I want in my life. But man, I had to get real about my self care. And what I thought was self care was just like throwing lipstick on a pig. It was not the real self care built from the foundation up. It was all the pedicures you can get, it was all the massages, but it didn't make me hate myself any less. And so it's time for us to do the deeper work, to look at what toxic relationships am I allowing in my life that are holding me back, to look at, am I taking care of my body like an athlete would? To look at what beliefs are holding me back from stepping into this next level of self care. To say no to everything that isn't in alignment with the who you're becoming. That's the boundary piece that I'm talking about. Also, boundaries look like asking for help and learning to receive. Another thing that women frickin' struggle with. We struggle asking for help and we really get uncomfortable receiving. We really get uncomfortable. One of the core beliefs that has been coming up in my inner child work that I'm reprogramming right now is I have this belief that no one's going to be there and it's all on me. No one's going to be there and it's all on me. And that served me for many years in terms of it like fueled this perfectionistic drive to be successful and to be independent and to be okay. And listen, I proved to myself like I don't need nobody. I can definitely be okay. I can definitely provide for my children. But is that how I want to live my life? Because that shit's lonely. That shit's avoidant attachment. That shit's pushing people away in my life that I long closeness and connection to. So I'm working on reprogramming this belief that it's all on me and no one's going to be there into I am always supported. I am always supported. And I know that from a spiritual sense. My grandmother passed away and I can feel her presence all the time. All the time. It's going to make me emotional thinking about it because it's so intense. I feel guided by spirit. I feel guided by my higher self and my intuition and my inner knowing and guidance system. I feel supported by my husband. I feel supported by friends. I feel supported by my family. I feel supported by my kids. I feel supported by my business and my clients and the people that know the work that we do inside this business. Like if I'm really cleared out and open to receive, I truly am fucking supported. And so when I get triggered and when I get scared, I'm going to keep reprogramming that old belief from it's all on me, which just creates this pressure that makes me want to numb out with my shitty coping mechanisms. But when it's not all on me, and when I truly am supported, there's so much surrender and ease in that way of being that I don't need to take a sledgehammer to my mental health and to my self-worth every night. I feel good about myself. I feel content. And then here's where I throw all my more surface level self-care rituals at the game, which is the fifth and final layer, the top of the pyramid, which are just the things that make you feel good, right? So this is where your massages come into play. This is where my morning ritual, where I get my hot tea and I do my meditation and I journal. This is my midday ritual, my walks and my listening to podcasts and my yoga nidra. This is my evening ritual and my bath and my podcast or my red light therapy and my stretching. This is where my massages and my retreats come in. This is where I'm making sure that I'm taking the next level of play and I cleared my Friday morning calendar so I could go to a new hip hop dance class. and I'm fucking loving it. It was so much fun. My first one was last Friday. I felt so tapped into who I really am that I started to cry. My friend Kendra, who I interviewed last week on the podcast, told me it was an emotional orgasm. And that blew my mind because I didn't know there was such a thing. But holy shit, getting back into dance is creating emotional orgasms for me. And my kind of theory here is that I suspect that because I'm doing the deeper work, because I'm taking better care of myself on a very real level, then that dance class, I can really receive it. I can really be present for it. I can really just be enjoying it so much that I'm having a goddamn emotional orgasm over it. I don't think that sunset that I was watching with my husband last night and the date that we have, or the massage would land on me that deep if I wasn't taking care of myself on the deeper level. And my love, what might be possible for you when you start to take your self care to this deeper level? And by the way, there's no shame in wherever you land in regards to self care and this hierarchy of needs. If you have been neglecting all of it, my love, I get it. You are not alone. You are not doing it wrong. I just want to invite you into a different way of being. One where you treat your mind, body, and spirit like the vessel it is. One where you treat yourself like an athlete preparing for the Super Bowl. I had the biggest speaking engagement I've had so far this past Friday. I spoke to a big association about energy, about frequency, being in your integrity of your frequency standard. I talked about nervous system regulation. I talked about managing your mind. I talked about boundaries. I talked about these things to 100 people in an open forum in a co-working space/bar where we weren't closed off. And I had to hold the energy and hold the intention and hold the attention of 100 people in an open forum during happy hour time for an hour. And you guess what? I killed it. And you know why? Because I'm taking care of myself. I was so present. I was so grounded in my body. I was so sure of my mission. I was strong in my self-worth. Literally, I was like telling stories, telling jokes. I was singing, I was dancing, and I was delivering. And it felt so magnetic that I had a line of almost the entire audience waiting to talk to me afterward to tell me things like, that is shifting me. I've heard these things before, but it's never landed on me in the way that you told it. It's never landed in the way that you taught it. How do you have that confidence? How do you have that authenticity? Where can I learn that? Listen to me. That's how I know it was a good talk, because normally I give myself a 5 or 6 out of 10 when I do talks. And it's because I don't feel grounded. It's because I dissociate. It's because I have this underlying shame of I could be taking better care of myself. Not anymore, baby. Not anymore. I'm in my integrity. I'm in my frequency first alignment with feeling alive. And that is experienced when you're in my circle. That is experienced when you're with me right now. And I'm fucking proud of that because I have had to do hard work to make it happen. But that is the type of self-care I'm talking about. Because when you say yes to this, when you choose to take better care of yourself, you're telling your subconscious, you're telling all your inner parts, your inner child, your inner adolescent, your inner perfectionist, your inner self-sabotager that you fucking matter, that you deserve to take up space, that you are worth the investment. And when you do that, your mind and your parts are paying attention, and so is the universe, because energetically, that's a completely different electromagnetic output. That is a completely different frequency and vibe. And now you're going to start resonating with other people, places, things, and experiences that mirror back for you that wealth, that worthiness, that deservingness, that abundance, that success, that play, that fun, that joy, that aliveness. So why does self-care matter? Because when you take care of yourself, you turn the lights on for everything that you want in your life. And it doesn't mean you have to feel fucking amazeballs every day. It doesn't mean that you can't suffer with depression or PTSD or low energy or a weird mood one of the days or 6 months out of the year. You still, if you do this work to keep taking steps in taking care of yourself, That alone, that choice is so magnetic and powerful that you will unlock so many doors that were closed before you said yes to that. So, my love, we've got to stop with this self-care is selfish nonsense. It's a way to take yourself out of the game. It's a self-sabotaging mechanism. If you want a beautiful life, you got to tune your instrument to resonate with that life that you want. That looks like taking your self care, mind, body, and spirit to the next level. That looks like taking your self care from this hierarchy of needs approach where you're looking at the deeper things where that typically harder work to do, so you can heal, so you can unblock, so you can create safety, so you can create new beliefs, so you can set and maintain boundaries, so you can set your frequency standard and be in your integrity. That deeper work that I'm talking about, that is what is going to take your life, leadership, and business to the next level. And so here's what I want to leave you with. I am creating the most potent and transformational container that I have ever offered women and mothers to date. I have compiled decades worth of tools, techniques, whether it's energy, leadership, nervous system regulation, boundary setting, all of it, and poured it into Unbounded, a mastermind for mama. So if you are a high achieving, high performing, often anxious go getter, maybe you're already successful in business, maybe you're already a leader in an organization, or you're already hitting six figures in your business, but you're ready to ditch these old ways of being that are perfectionistic and anxiety provoking, and you're ready to unlock and unleash that next level of potential, then you got to join me for this mastermind. That deeper work that I'm talking about, that's what we're going to be doing in a group of like-minded sisterhood. Because what happens in the power of a group when women come together and they set an intention and they create a vision and they hold each other through that and they learn from each other and they offer real business support, real feedback, all while learning new ways of being and real techniques that are going to help them up level, something really alchemical and magical happens. And so this container is for you if you're ready to take your life, leadership, and business to the next level, but doing it from a roots up approach. If you're ready to do it with more ease, more flow, more of our feminine gifts, energy, all of that, this is for you. It's a 6-month mastermind where you're going to meet with me weekly. There's a monthly theme and topic. And at the end, we're going to meet in real life. We're going to meet in person for a 4-day frickin' retreat where we can really anchor in your experience, where we can really integrate and transcend everything that just came through. And I cannot tell you how freaking excited I am, because I know that this is going to attract the most magnificent women who are ready to level up and do it in a way that feels good. So if this interests you, we will link it in the show notes. Make sure that you read up about it, and then make sure that you set up a free discovery call with me to see if it's the right fit for you and if you're the right fit for it. But I am so freaking excited about this offer. I cannot wait to see you inside the program if it's the right thing for you at this time in your life. So mama, self-care is not selfish. Self-care is your vehicle to success. And let's look at self-care on a deeper level than just the pedicure. The pedicure is amazing. You don't need to ditch that. Keep taking care of yourself in that way. But let's dig a little bit deeper and let's shed the layers that are totally holding you back from rising into your fullest freaking potential and expression of your authentic essence, because the world needs that now more than ever. I love you so much. I am so glad you're here. I hope this served you in such meaningful and juicy ways. And I'll see y'all same time, same place next week. Bye for now. Hey, mama, if you made it to the end of this episode, I just want to virtually high five you because you've said yes to the opportunity of taking better care of yourself. And that is so meaningful and so amazing. You have no idea the ripple of goodness that's to come. If you've been enjoying the show, if you've been finding it helpful, if you've laughed a little or learned a new technique, will you do me a favor? Will you make sure that you're following the show, that you've given us a 5-star rating and left a review? That will absolutely help us get this podcast into more heads and hearts of as many mamas as possible, because when we heal the mother, we heal the world. Also, if there's a specific episode that you've loved, will you make sure to share it with a friend? Just send them the link or share it on social media, and make sure you tag me at Brooke Jean Unperfected, because I absolutely love seeing that this is actually giving you the impact that you so desire and deserve. Thank you so much, mamas. Make sure you're taking care of yourselves and therefore each other.